Hello everyone, I'm clinical medical geneticist Dr. Sezin CANBEK. Today I'm with two brilliant scientists, Professor Dario Alessi and Professor Miratul Muqit, who work in MRC-PPU unit in University of Dundee, Scotland. They do great research here and they have lots of papers, research, and they have lots of awards and honors around the world. I've been with them during last 1 month in their lab, in their unit, and also we've seen so many patients with Miratul Muqit and Esther Samler, who also works in MRC-PPU unit and Nine Wells Hospital as a neurologist and scientist. I'd like to thank, first of all, I'd like to thank them and their lab members and colleagues to giving this opportunity to me to be in their department. Now I kindly invite them to talk about Parkinson's disease and their valuable research on this subject. Dear Dario, as a director of MRC-PPU unit, what would you like to tell us about Parkinson's disease research?
Okay, well first I'd like to start by saying it's been a tremendous pleasure having you in the unit. You know, our unit's always open for visitors, whether they want to come for 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, 1 day. We're always delighted to have guests from all over the world here to discuss with us research and to learn more about the work that's going on. So, yeah, I suppose the one thing I would like to say is that we're starting, not just from our lab, but from the research of the whole community to really understand the nuts and bolts of the biology that's relevant to Parkinson's disease, the pathways in which the signals move down and elicit physiological effects and keep the dopamine producing cells healthy. And then we're also starting to understand how various disruptions that might cause Parkinson's disease, for example genetic effects or even environmental effects, might impact these highways of communication, and how this could maybe over time lead to Parkinson's disease. And I think we're starting to understand this in sufficient depth that we can really start working with clinicians and pharmaceutical companies to develop modulators of these pathways. And some of these ideas have already resulted in new potential treatments that are being tested in the clinic. We're particularly excited about the LRRK2 kinase here that seems to be overactivated in people impacted with Parkinson's disease. And numerous companies, including Denali and Biogen, have developed very potent drug-like molecules that target LRRK2, and these are being tested in clinical trials. And yeah, the best thing that ever happened to me in recent times was on the 18th of April when unfortunately our colleague Esther Samler is not able to be here today, but she's running a clinical trial in our local hospital in Dundee. And I got to see the first person in the UK participate in the LRRK2 inhibitor trial, where they took a tablet, and then after that was like 20 years work to get to this point. And it was a special moment. So I'm optimistic. I think we're on the pathway to where we can have better treatments, and but we can't relax. There's still, we don't know how high the mountain is ahead of us, and we've just got to, if anything, intensify the efforts of research as a whole community to get to that point.
Yeah, thank you, Dario. Thank you. Dear Miratul, you are on both sides. You also see patients in hospital and you also do lots of research here. How you manage to balance both sides, and what would you like to tell us about your research here?
Yes, thank you, Sezin, and again I would like to add it's been our pleasure to have had you this month, and you brought a lot of energy and enthusiasm both to the lab but also in the clinic seeing the patients. So thank you for spending some time with us. I mean, I guess my perspective of it is, being as a clinician, is that I've always been fascinated by brain diseases. When I was training as a medical student, I found this branch of medicine fascinating, but also very aware of the huge challenges in this area of medicine. So, as a medical student, I was very aware that the origins of diseases like Parkinson's, particularly, were mysterious. The treatments were not able to affect the progression, but more symptoms. And I think because of that fascination, I think that's what, as a clinician scientist, drew me to do my research in this area. And I still remember seeing my very first Parkinson's patient. It was in a lecture theatre in my medical school, who was brought into the students to show the symptoms that patients get. And I, through my research career, have been very much focused on trying to understand more about the origins of this condition, with the hope that this can translate to better ways to diagnose and treat. I think that from the scientific point of view, I do agree with Dario's comments about understanding the nuts and bolts. I mean, I think that the genetic, so this is something that happened during my early years of training, is that the discovery of the genes that are linked to familial forms of Parkinson's, I think, has been extremely vital to allow a whole field of research to arise, to focus now on which cellular pathways are going wrong in brain cells. And I think, for me, the way that I look at it is that without the genes are very important, but the type of work that we do here in Dundee, in the MRC, that really trying to understand the molecular mechanisms of how the mutation in the gene leads to alterations in cellular pathways, and ultimately to why dopamine cells are lost in patient Parkinson's, is probably where we get the best ideas for diagnosis and treatments, direct treatments. In our own work, we've been interested in genes including the PINK1 kinase and the Parkin ubiquitin ligase, and this has suggested that the mitochondria of neurons is very important in maintaining their health, and if this is damaged, this leads to Parkinson's. And I think this has complemented the work of Dario's work with this LRRK2 kinase and its implication in similar defects in trafficking and lysosomal dysfunction. And there's many similar parallels to how these cellular pathways are altered. I mean, for me, my focus is to continue, because I think that we still don't have that treatment in the clinic for the patients. And so, as you've seen for the last few weeks, we are prescribing medications. Some of them are recent medications, but they're still symptomatic. So I think that's what motivates me in the lab, is actually hoping that our research will contribute to the wider field to come up with something that can help patients ultimately, either diagnostically or in terms of slowing down the disease. And I think, as a clinician scientist, I would say, yes, working on something that's directly relevant to people that you manage and look after, I think is very motivating and inspiring as well.
Yeah, you are right. Thank you, Miratul. Thank you, Dario. Thank you, Miratul. It's a great pleasure to be with you here, and I sincerely believe that you are central figures in Parkinson research all the time. I would also thank all your lab members, colleagues, and postdocs, senior postdocs, and PhD students and lab technicians, all the people I talk here, and I think you have such a great team here, well focused and energetic, and thank you for everything. It was really great honor to be here with you. And thank you for everything. Thank you, everyone. We see you in next videos. Stay safe. Have a nice day. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.